Background, check. Shirt, check. Hair, check. Setup, check. Coffee, check. In a recent video, we built a DIY Bitcoin signing device from scratch. It's called the SeedSigner. Today, we're going to put that Bitcoin signing device to work with real Bitcoin transactions. I'll show you how to set up wallets, generate addresses, sign transactions, and back up your seed phrase, all while maintaining complete air-gapped security. We're also going to sync our SeedSigner with both the Blue Wallet and Sparrow Wallet to demonstrate the complete workflow from setup to spending. That sounds good? Let's get to it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sovereign Money. If you haven't watched the previous video where we assemble a SeedSigner from scratch, something is definitely wrong. So go ahead and check that out. I'll wait. Well, I'll put a link in the description and you can check it out later. But let me quickly explain what we're working with. A SeedSigner is an open-source, air-gapped Bitcoin signing device built with a Raspberry Pi Zero. Unlike commercial hardware wallets, you build this yourself from readily available components, which eliminates supply chain attacks and corporate trust requirements. The entire software stack is open source and auditable. That's a tough one. The firmware that you download and flash onto the device is a custom Linux distribution that will download from the SeedSigner's official GitHub repository and flash onto a micro SD card using standard imaging software like Raspberry Pi Imager or another piece of software called Balena Etcher. Let's take a look at those real quick. Before I get into the other stuff, this is SeedSigner's homepage, seedsigner.com. It's where you want to go to sort of start your journey into this, creating this device. And the next page we have here is the SeedSigner GitHub repository, which has a ton of information. Build an offline air-gapped Bitcoin signing device for less than $50. Yes, this is really affordable. And there's a ton of information on here. You can check this out. Please read through this before you get involved. Some of it's complex and some of it is really neat. But what we're actually interested in on this GitHub page is this right here, software installation. I'm going to click that link. And it takes us down to this list, and you pick the version that's appropriate for your platform. You download it, and you need a little SD card, exactly like this little guy, tiny little thing. You download that software. Then you need something to be able to put that software, this imaging software, onto the SD card. To do that, you're going to use something called Raspberry Pi Imager, which is available at this website. Again, I'll put a link in the description. Or, more easily, something called Balena Etcher, etcher.balena.io, right here. And this is a super easy software to use. It's available for multiple platforms, Windows, Mac OS, Linux, etc. And you can download that, then you etch your image for your Raspberry Pi software onto the little tiny SD card, provided you have an SD card reader. And then once you have that, you put it into your device and you can start the device. I went through this in more detail in the building video. So if you need more detailed instructions in that, please go ahead and check out that video on my channel. Using the software you download from the SeedSigner's GitHub page creates a completely isolated operating system designed solely for Bitcoin operations. No network connectivity, no unnecessary software, just pure Bitcoin security. Today's video is going to be focusing purely on the software aspects of the SeedSigner. We're going to explore every major feature of the SeedSigner operating system and see why this approach is becoming the benchmark for Bitcoin self-custody. For today's video, I've actually disassembled the SeedSigner from the case it was in at the end of the last video, and I'm running it in a low-profile configuration with just the Raspberry Pi Zero and what's called the Wave Share screen hat attached to it. Here it is right here. Basically, this is the Raspberry Pi Zero underneath. Can you see that? And on top of it, attached to it with these little pins, is the Wave Share screen right here. It's a square screen, 240 by 240, and there's some controls on the left here, a joystick, and then some button controls on the right. And basically, that's it. This is the camera, which is attached right in here. I added these little extensions to support the device and make it a little more robust. But that's it. You've got the Pi, the camera, and the screen. I think this setup is actually pretty cool and minimalistic. So I hope you feel the same way, that this is a pretty cool little setup. Now in this device, if you noticed, I have an SD card right here that I've flashed the SeedSigner operating system onto. We're using the Bellina Etcher application, and then it gets inserted face down, so to speak, into a little slot, a card reader on the side here, right there. And then there are two places where you can plug in a micro USB port. This one is for data and power. This one is just for power, so we're going to be using that one today. This does not have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth capabilities physically on the device, but you can use one that does. The software itself actually just turns those functions off. So let's go ahead and plug in the SeedSigner and take a look at the menus when it starts up. We plug it in. You can't see this very well, but there's a little light there, and then eventually there'll be a screen, something on the screen. There we go. And there we are. SeedSigner 0.8.6. And that is the home screen. It's going to tell me you can remove the SD card. This operating system is contained within the flash memory. That is, when I unplug this, everything is wiped. It stays on the SD card and operates without the SD card. But if I unplug it, the device is clean. That is, if somebody were to get a hold of this, they have no access to any keys, private keys, seed phrase, anything like that. Okay? But this is the home screen that you're greeted with, and we're going to go through this today. One of the advantages of these devices are its simplicity. Basically, because it's Bitcoin only, and the operating system is designed for total Bitcoin security and simplicity. That's what it's all about. So let's go ahead and go through these menus. We can see that this is the scan button right here. When I press that, it turns on the camera, and we can take a picture of something. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go press the back button, which is actually moving this to the left, back to the home screen. Okay, in the upper right, we have the seeds menu. In that menu, we can basically load a seed by scanning a QR code. I'll show you that in a minute. We can enter a 12-word seed by hand or enter a 24-word seed, or we have the option to create a seed. And when I load that, it actually loads the tools menu, which is right here. So it goes from one to the other. This is the tools menu where you can create a new seed using the camera. We take a picture of our surroundings and use that as entropy for the generation of a seed phrase. We can create a new seed through dice rolls using, for 12 words, we use 50 dice rolls. For 24 words, we would use 99 rolls. No thanks. And we can calculate the 12th or 24th word. If we put in 23 words, we can let the device calculate the 24th. We can explore the addresses of our wallet and verify an address to make sure we are in the right wallet. Besides that, we have one other menu, which is the settings menu, where we can set our language. We can tell the device whether we want the settings saved on the SD card, which is right here, or not. We can check which coordinator software that we're going to be compatible with. We don't have to be compatible with all of these, but we have the option to connect with Blue Wallet, Nunchuck, Sparrow, and Spectre, Desktop, or Keeper. Those are your options there. Denomination display. How do we want our Bitcoin displayed, with a threshold of 0.001, or BTC or Sats, or BTC Sats hybrid. And then there's an advanced settings menu, which gets a little more nuanced by where you select network, QR code density. You can export your XPub, signature types, script types, show XPub details, BIP39 passphrases, camera rotation, compact seed QRs, BIP85, Electrum seeds, message signing, show privacy warnings, brightness tips, partner logos, etc. And the last one is hardware, and we can tell it what type of display that we want to use if we're not using this sort of standard display that we have attached right here. First, we're going to manage our settings, and we're going to do that by going to a specific web page. Web page? Why on earth would we use a web page for the settings of a SeedSigner? That doesn't make any sense. The device is right here and it's air gapped. because we're going to set our settings on a web page and then scan the QR associated with those settings, and we'll set all the settings for us. Let's check it out. Okay, here we are at kdmukai.github.io, SeedSigner settings generator. Okay, so we're gonna call this configuration sovereign. Persistent settings, we want to save them on the SD card. I'm not going to use Nunchuck. I'm not going to use Spectre. I'm not going to use Keeper. Let's leave the Bitcoin denomination at 0.01. And you'll notice these are the settings that we went through on the device. So this QR code is going to represent the settings for all of those different areas. We have the XPub export. Yes, we want to have that capability. We'll set our QR code at density. We want Bitcoin mainnet. SIG types, single SIG, multi-SIG. I don't want nested SegWit. That's like for boomers or something. Then we've got Taproot, show XPub details, BIP39 passphrase, child seeds. I'm not going to be using that, but that could be something that you want to do. Message signing. Again, I'm not going to be using that today. Show privacy warnings, etc. Display type. This is the dimensions of the display we're using, and you can invert the colors so it's actually blue and white. It's hard to explain. You can just play around with it. This is represented in this. So we're going to scan that QR right now with our device. If we go back to the device and check it out, let's go here, and we're going to press the scan button and scan that QR. Okay, settings QR, sovereign, settings updated in temporary memory. I'm going to put this card in, SD card inserted, and I'm not sure. Let's go to the settings and make sure the persistent settings are enabled. Now they're going to be saved to the card. Okay, so we've got the settings all set up according to how we want them. And they are persistent. That is, they are saved onto this card. If the card is not in there and the device is turned off, there's no settings saved. But if you want, you can set it up so that your settings are saved onto the card. Now, let's go ahead and generate our first seed phrase on our SeedSigner device. Let's head back to the SeedSigner and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here we are at the SeedSigner. And what we want to do is go to Tools. We're going to create a new seed. We can either use dice rolls, we can enter it by hand, we can calculate the 12th or 24th word, or the top one is for taking a photo and using that photo as entropy. So I'm going to do that. Take a photo of my microphone. Wow, that's a great shot. Okay, there's my microphone. And it's going to use that as entropy. Oh, it must have erased it. Sorry. Let me do that again. All right, there's the image. I'm going to accept. I'm going to set a 12-word seed phrase. I understand. Keep them private. Here are my seeds, or my seeds. Here are my seed words. And you should write these down, at least temporarily, and then put them permanently in some type of offline storage, preferably. And I'm not going to worry about that too much. Verify the backup by going through and re-entering words. I'm going to skip that. I'm not going to use a passphrase for today's demo, and that's it. And I can export my XPub in this area. That's how you create your first seed phrase on the SeedSigner. I also want to show you how to create a seed phrase using a QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe the device, and then we're going to scan a QR code, and that QR code contains a seed phrase. All right, here we are back at the device. I'm going to go up to the power button. Now our settings are saved on here, and it will not reboot unless I have this card in. So it's very important that you have that in place. I'm going to restart the device. It's going to wipe everything. It's telling me it's wipe all memory when I restart. And there we go. Now there's no seed phrase in the device. You can do this manually by erasing the seed phrase in the tools menu, I believe, or it might be in the seeds menu. But you can do that manually as well. You don't have to restart. Let's go ahead and scan a QR I have up on the screen for a seed phrase. There it is. it was that quick. It's super fast at recognizing the seed phrase QRs. And I'm going to press done. And that's it. I'm not going to use a passphrase or anything with that. And that's how quick you can enter a seed phrase. So the QRs really save a crazy amount of time if you want to have a persistent wallet that you use with this device. And that's what I would recommend. So now that we have created a seed phrase by scanning a QR, we've created a seed phrase by taking a picture. What I want to do is, now that the seed phrase is in the device, let's say we'd used a photograph of our surroundings to do that, I want to show you how to back it up using a QR. And you can actually create a QR using this device. Let's head back to the SeedSigner GitHub page and take a look around again. Okay, here we are on the SeedSigner GitHub page. What I wanted to show you was seed QR printable templates right here. Let's go ahead and click that. This is a 12-word seed QR template that you can download and print. I click that link, and there it is. This is a 25 by 25 dot template, I think. Yes, 25 by 25 dot template. There are also ones with 21 by 21 right here. And you can download this, print, and then you fill out the data using a marker. Basically, you fill in the squares. And you can, on the other side of this template, you can write your seed phrase if you would prefer to have another type of backup like that. But there's tons of different options that you can go through on your own time here. Let's go back to the device and I'll show you how to create one of these backups. In the SeedSigner, we already have the seed phrase entered. We happen to scan it, so we already have a QR, but let's pretend we didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Seeds menu, and it's going to show us what seed we have loaded in the device. Right there. This is our seed menu, basically. We can export the XPub, Address Explorer, but we want to back up the seed phrase. Oh, by the way, this is where you can erase the seed phrase manually if you want. Back up the seed. View seed words, so you can write down the words if you've already loaded a seed onto here, forgot to back it up. Or you can export as a seed QR. In order to do that, you pick your type you would like to export as, 21 by 21, which is the one with 3 black and white squares, or 25 by 25, which has 4. And I showed you both of those just a second ago. We're going to go with the 21 by 21. I understand this is private. Don't photograph it. Don't put it in your kitchen on the refrigerator. Okay, good. Begin 21 by 21. And I'm assuming this is the representation of our seed phrase. And there we go. So the QR card is broken up into parts: A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. So A1 is already set. We don't change that. Then we're going to go to the next section. I'm not sure how to do that. There we go. Move over to the right. This is the dots you need to fill in on that paper QR in order to have it be scannable by the device. Then you go to A3. Then we go back to B1, B2, B3, etc. And you fill in your QR code. All right. So, and then you can confirm it by scanning it with the device, and it will say whether it matches the appropriate seed. Otherwise, you might have to do it over. So we're going to say done, and we have officially created our own seed phrase QR, scannable QR that we can use with the SeedSigner. So now that we have our seed phrase, it's backed up, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and start working with a Bitcoin wallet. For the first part of the demo, I'm going to be using what's called Blue Wallet. It's an open source Bitcoin-only wallet that you can use on mobile and or desktop. So I'm going to be using it on the desktop for today's demo. All right, this is the welcome screen. It's not very welcoming and it's kind of simple, but that's good because there's not much else to do than add a wallet or press this. They both do the same thing. And this is the entire application right here. There's nothing else. Let's go ahead and add a wallet. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to choose what type of wallet. A regular Bitcoin wallet, and the application will generate a seed phrase for us. Of course, it's going to be a hot wallet, a multi-sig wallet, which we can use multiple hardware wallets to create, or You can use this as a hot wallet, multi-sig wallet as well, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to press the create button. We're going to press this button, which does not look like a button. It's import wallet, and it says, please enter your seed words, public key, WIF, or anything else you've got. Wallet information file, I think that's what that stands for. Blue Wallet will do best to guess the correct format to import your wallet. Right down here, it says scan or import a file. Again, this is a button, but it doesn't look like it. So we're going to press that, then the camera's going to turn on. But what we want to do with our device first is prepare it. So what is this going to scan? It's going to scan a QR code representing the information from our SeedSigner wallet. And that is the XPub, or the public key of our wallet, which we do not need to keep private for security reasons, but for privacy reasons, you should keep the XPub as private as you can, unless you have a YouTube channel. Okay, on the device, we're going to go back to the home page. We're going to go to Seeds again. We're going to select the seed that we want to export. We're going to click that. Then we're going to go down to Export XPub, the public key. We want to do it in a single sig or a multi-sig. Is this wallet going to be a part of a multi-sig setup with several other wallets, or is it just working on its own? And again, this is going to be just working on its own. Single signature. What wallet do we want to use? Remember the settings. I selected Blue Wallet and Sparrow. We're going to select Blue Wallet. And it says XPub can be used to view all of your transactions. So I get it. I understand. Now it's generating the XPub, and we want to export the XPub. Now, one thing you need to make sure that you've got set up here, if you look really carefully, it says derivation M84. That is native SegWit derivation. This is a native SegWit ZPub that's going to be exported to the Blue Wallet. Now, I'd like to use Taproot, but Blue Wallet is not working with Taproot at the moment, so we have to use native SegWit for that. And if you wanted to use Taproot, I think you go... Oh, right here. Okay, so it says export XPub. We want single sig, and then we had the option to choose native SegWit or Taproot. For Blue Wallet, I want to do native SegWit. For Sparrow Wallet, I'd probably do Taproot. So let's go ahead and make sure that's native SegWit. Blue Wallet, sorry, I missed that on the way in. And again, we're going to export the XPub. It's going to display a QR here. And then on the Blue Wallet, we're going to scan that QR. Go ahead and press Export XPub, and that is the QR. And I'm going to scan it by selecting this button in the Blue Wallet. It's going to turn on that, and that's it. Your wallet has been successfully imported. This is a watch-only wallet. You cannot spend from it. Yes, you can if you have the signing device, which is our SeedSigner. But without the signing device, you can't just simply send Bitcoin anywhere from this wallet. Plus, there's no Bitcoin in it to begin with. So let's press OK. I'm going to reset the SeedSigner, and that's it. And it gives a warning about watch-only wallets and scamming and all that stuff. So we don't have any Bitcoin in this wallet. We can also list sats or US dollars, and you can poke around in here. This is a really neat piece of software, and this is a settings button here. This is a watch-only wallet. We're displaying in the home screen. You can hide that. Our derivation path is 84, which is native SegWit. We can show a list of addresses. So let's go ahead and do that. And this is our list of addresses that we can use. And then we have change addresses as well. I'm going to go ahead and verify that everything went through properly by checking this address. So I'm going to set up a receive address right down here. And it's going to be a QR code. I'm going to scan this QR with the SeedSigner to verify the address. So let's go ahead back to the SeedSigner. Okay, in order to verify that address, I'm going to go to the Tools menu and go down to Verify Address option. Click on that. It's going to bring up the scanner. I'm going to scan the QR on the screen, and it says select Seed to verify. Success. Address verified. That is, the address shown on the screen and the QR code is from this wallet. So any Bitcoin sent to that address will go into this wallet. Perfect. All right, I'm going to send some Bitcoin to this address, and then we're going to have to wait for it to go through. I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've initiated the send transaction to that wallet or that address, and let's see here. Hopefully this will show up in the wallet pretty soon. As soon as it does, I will come back and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the transaction showed up in the blue wallet. It says pending. You can see right here. And that's the amount I sent. 0 confirmations. Hopefully it will get confirmed within the next 10 minutes, and then I'll be able to show you how to send that back out. In the meantime, let's head over to the Sparrow Wallet, and I'll show you how to connect this device to the Sparrow Wallet. All right, here we are at the Sparrow Wallet homepage, so to speak, when you first open the Sparrow Wallet. Down here, you're going to see a yellow toggle. That is because I am connected to a public node, and I'm not connected to my personal private node just for this demo. I didn't want to feel like setting it up, and I think I'm out of USB ports anyway. So we're going to create a new wallet. We're going to call it Seed and 2 because I did this before. Create wallet. And then what we want to do is we want to create an XPub watch only wallet. This time we're going to do it in Taproot format. Single signature, XPub watch only. You click this button right here, and you can paste your XPub if you want, but what we're going to do is we're going to scan the QR again from the SeedSigner. So I'm going to bring that screen back up and press Export XPub, single sig. This time I'm going to select the Taproot option, and then I'm also going to select Sparrow Wallet, of course. I understand, and there's the information for me to verify. Yes, I want to export the XPub, and then we go back to the Sparrow Wallet and set it up to scan this QR code. So I'm going to press import, or actually I'm going to press this button here, which is scan, and we're going to QR to the scanner, and that's it. So we have created a watch-only wallet, key store 1, which is just the only one and only key. It is Taproot, derivation path, which is right here, and the master fingerprint. Let's just make sure that matches the seed. Yes, it does. And there's the big XPub. Press apply. I'm not going to set a password for this. And here's what's neat. Our transactions our transactions will not appear in this wallet because we selected a Taproot derivation. So I'm pretty sure the transaction that we replaced in the blue wallet is not going to show up here in the Sparrow Wallet. Let's go ahead. No transactions. Just for fun, let's erase this wallet, and we're going to set up another wallet using native SegWit derivation path and see if our transaction shows up in here. Okay, so we're going to go up to File, New Wallet, Seed 3, Create Wallet. This time we're going to leave this at native SegWit. We're going to create an XPub, and we're going to scan that same QR, except this time we're going to obviously select native SegWit. So we're going to go to the seed menu here, export XPub, single signature, native SegWit, Sparrow Wallet. I understand. And then we're going to export that QR. Going to set up the Sparrow Wallet to scan. Done. And then I press apply, make sure everything's good, check the fingerprint. Perfect. And I press apply, no password. At this time, it's syncing with the blockchain using that public node that I selected. And we're going to go into the transactions folder and see if it picks up any transactions. There it is. I was going to say there should be one unconfirmed transaction. And there it is. That is cool. 22,424. And the blue wallet, 22,424 sats. Yay. So it worked. Now back to the blue wallet. In order to send this Bitcoin out of this wallet, you need a signing device because both of these wallets that we created on Blue Wallet and Sparrow Wallet are what are called watch-only wallets. And it even says it in the title of the wallet, imported watch-only wallet. You cannot send Bitcoin out of this wallet. Now, at the moment, there is no Bitcoin in the wallet because it hasn't been confirmed, of course. And let's go ahead and click the wallet. It says pending. I can't send this out, but if I wanted to send it out, this wallet is not being used in conjunction with an offline signing. Would you wish to enable it now? Yes, press OK. So I have to enable the ability to use an offline signing device. Otherwise, it's just sort of more of a portfolio setup where you can look at the balance of the wallet, but you can't sign any transactions without telling it, I need to be able to sign the transactions. I don't have any Bitcoin to send out right now, but what we would do is we would enter the address here. We can enter Taproot, native SegWit, whatever you want. Make sure to enter a note. Set the fee. I usually let it calculate the fee, but you don't have to. You can change the fee by clicking it. Fast, medium, slow. Right now, fees are very low. I might go with this one. There's no way that's going to take 3 hours. But this one will go very quickly. And you have to select a fee, or you can set a custom fee, and then you would press next. And that's it. I'm not going to make you wait around for the confirmation of that deposit in order to send it out. It's pretty simple. While we're waiting, let's go back to Sparrow, and I want to show you one other way to create a wallet related to the SeedSigner. So we're going to go ahead and create a new wallet in Sparrow. And this time we're going to call it Seed4. Create wallet. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an air-gapped hardware wallet, which is very similar to the XPub watch-only wallet. And we click that button. And in this list should be, there it is, SeedSigner. And what we're going to do is we're going to show our QR code. Again, this is going to be native SegWit because I left it as native SegWit. We're going to make sure that we load the XPub for, native SegWit and the Sparrow wallet. And then you click the SeedSigner scan button, and it works just the same way. And there you go. Everything is the same as Seed3 wallet, and I'm going to press apply, no password, and it's going to scan the blockchain, and there should be a transaction listed in there that is not complete. And there it is, unconfirmed transaction, which I sent quite a while ago, and it hasn't been confirmed, not even one time, so I'm not going to make you wait around. Some quick security considerations. Remember, SeedSigner's security model relies on it being completely air-gapped. Never connect to Wi-Fi, never plug it into a networked computer, and always verify what you're signing, especially after recent attacks on Bitcoin-related software. The QR code communication method means that even if your computer is compromised, an attacker cannot access your private keys because they're never exposed to the network device. However, you are responsible for securely storing your seed phrase backup, even if it's a QR code, verifying transaction details before signing on the device, and keeping your SeedSigner firmware updated, and physically protecting the device when in use. Now, this device is unique because when you unplug it, everything is wiped, so you don't have to physically protect it at that point. I just want to show you something real quick. I feel like I control the Bitcoin blockchain. This is absolutely ridiculous. Here we are at mempool.space, and I did a search for the transaction where I sent Bitcoin to the wallet for this wonderful demo that I created. The last block, which is supposed to be approximately every 10 minutes, was confirmed 38 minutes ago. 38 minutes ago. The one before that was just 4 minutes before. The one before that was 3 minutes before it. The one before that was 14 minutes before it. And the one before that was 4 minutes before that. So we've got 4, 14, 3, and 5 minutes apart. That was the timing of the blocks leading up to the block that contained my transaction. So, sorry about that. It's very frustrating. After nearly 2 hours waiting for that transaction to confirm, I finally have a total of 4 confirmations, and I'm just done waiting. So I can actually send it out at this point. So let's go ahead and press the send button in Blue Wallet, and I'll bring up the send interface here. I'm going to paste the amount of Bitcoin I want to send out, which is all of it, and useful balance, it says. Okay, that's what I want to do. Max, that will account for the fee so that we have some Bitcoin left over for the fee. I'm going to check the fees, And this is kind of a joke for 10 minutes, but I'm going to do a medium fee of 4 sats per VByte and select that. I'm going to grab an address. I'll be right back to paste that in. All right, here's the address that's going to go to. I could have scanned a QR as well. Note, back to river. Fee, set, next button. Let's see. Now, this is a partially signed Bitcoin transaction, PSBT, and it needs to be scanned and signed with my hardware wallet, which I happen to have a hardware wallet right here. So I'm going to scan that code using the scan feature. There we go. And there's the scanned, partially signed Bitcoin transaction. It asks which signer I would like to use. I can enter a seed phrase at this point or use the one that's on the device. Review the partially signed Bitcoin transaction, 21,976 sats. Confirm that. Actually, I'm not going to move away from this. I'm just going to review the details. Full spend. This PSBT spends its entire input value. No changes coming back to your wallet. Good. 22,424 minus the fee is 21,976. 0 sats change. Review recipients. This is the wallet that is going to be receiving that transaction, and that looks good. Click to approve this transaction, approve it, and now I need to scan this with the Blue Wallet. Back in the Blue Wallet, there's a function for that called Scan Sign Transaction. I'm going to press that. It'll open the camera, put that on the camera. Just have to be patient here. Done. This is the hex from the transaction. If I want to copy it and broadcast it later, I can do that, or we can send it right now, and the wallet balance goes to 0. That is it. I just wanted to update you with that sending transaction to show you how to send a Bitcoin transaction out of the SeedSigner wallet. The SeedSigner represents a fundamental shift in how we think about Bitcoin self-custody. Instead of trusting a corporation to build secure firmware, we can verify and control every aspect of our security setup. The learning curve might seem steep at first, but the peace of mind that comes from truly understanding and controlling your Bitcoin security is worth the effort, in my opinion. In the next SeedSigner video, we're going to explore advanced smart card functionality as it relates to this device. It makes this setup even more powerful and convenient for daily use. If this video helped you understand the SeedSigner and all of its neat capabilities, go ahead and smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe while you're down there. I want to say I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay sovereign, and I'll see you in the next video. In a recent... Today, we're going to put that Bitcoin using the software you download from Raspberry Pis. Complete. I hope you like it today. Oh my God, that's awful. So I hope you, oh my God. Some quick about how we think